The mirror didn't show my reflection. It showed the man who was standing exactly 3 feet behind me in a room that was supposed to be empty. Arthur froze, his razor hovering inches from his throat. In the glass, the stranger was tall, wearing a burial shroud that looked like wet soot. He didn't turn around. He knew that in this house, looking at the truth directly was a death sentence. Instead, he watched the reflection as the shrouded figure raised a pair of rusted shears. The metal groaned, a sound that echoed not in the room, but inside Arthur's own skull. "You spent 40 years polishing the glass, Arthur," the figure whispered. The voice sounded like water bubbling through a crushed windpipe. "But you forgot to check what was growing on the other side." The stranger stepped closer, his boots making no sound on the tile. Arthur noticed the steam on the mirror wasn't evaporating, it was forming letters. "The debt is in the bone." He felt a sudden, agonizing coldness in his marrow, as if his skeleton were being replaced by needles of ice. The house was finally calling in its ancient, bloody mortgage. He dropped the razor, and it shattered against the floor. But in the mirror, the razor didn't fall. The reflection of Arthur held onto the blade, a wicked grin spreading across a face that was no longer his. The man in the glass was beginning to move independently. "Swap with me," the reflection mouthed, its voice a silent vibration against the glass. The shrouded figure placed the shears against the reflection's neck. Arthur felt a sharp, stinging pain in his own throat, though nothing had touched him. He was a voodoo doll of his own image. He realized the mirror wasn't a surface, it was a membrane. The shrouded man was the weaver, the one who stitched souls into the architecture of the world. He needed Arthur's flesh to patch a hole in the reality of the hallway outside. The house was hungry for a repair. Arthur grabbed a heavy porcelain pitcher and swung at the glass. But as the pitcher struck the mirror, it didn't break. The surface rippled like a dark pond, swallowing the pitcher whole. A second later, the pitcher flew out of the mirror, hitting Arthur in the chest. The force knocked him back into the bathtub. The water, which had been warm, was now a thick, black oil. He tried to stand, but the oil was like glue, pulling him down toward the drain. He looked up and saw the reflection climbing out of the frame, stepping into the room. The double was perfect except for its eyes. They were flat silver coins. It looked down at Arthur with a cold, mechanical pity. "Don't worry," the double said, its voice identical to Arthur's. "I'll take much better care of your life than you ever did. I won't even blink." The shrouded figure stepped into the light, revealing a face made of tightly woven gray nerves. It reached into the bathtub and grabbed Arthur by the hair, dragging him toward the mirror. "The frame needs a new soul to hold the glass," it gurgled, its needle fingers glowing. Arthur screamed as his body was pressed against the silver surface. It felt like being pushed through a sieve. He felt his three-dimensional life being flattened, his memories being pressed into two-dimensionally. He was becoming the image, and the image was becoming the man. He hit the back of the glass with a dull thud. He looked out into his bathroom and saw the double adjusting his tie, whistling a tune Arthur hadn't heard since childhood. The shrouded man nodded, then vanished into the shadows of the towel rack, his work finished for the night. Arthur pounded on the glass, but no sound came out. To the world, he was just a reflection, a trick of the light. He watched his double walk out of the room and turn off the light. Darkness swirled around him, cold and absolute. He was a prisoner in the silver. Now, Arthur waits. He waits for someone else to stand before the mirror, to look too closely at their own eyes. He waits for the weaver to return with his rusted shears. Because in this house, the only way to get out of the mirror is to pull someone else in.